Folks, we're back. This is Steve Sampson, Jim Jonas with Veterans in Politics. Today we have Giano Amado. He's going to discuss the Clark County Child Protective Services and the judge of the family court, Mathew Harter. Jim, you got anything?
Actually, no. It's just been an interesting week. I keep hearing everything on Facebook about the Democratic debates and all this stuff. And to be perfectly honest with you, like, I used to get a lot into that. And obviously, I'm involved in politics, right? But
obviously, what gave it away?
Yeah, right. But to be perfectly honest with you, like, the stuff you hear,
I want you to lie to me.
Yeah, the stuff you hear on Facebook back and forth, just remember those are opinions and everybody has a right to their opinion, and Instagram and Twitter and all the other social media sites out there. And I appreciate everybody being involved with that. But at the end of the day, like, you got to do your own research. Like, don't take someone's word on Facebook or whatever. Like, you just need to do your own research and listen completely to what the candidates have to say on both sides. And then just, at the end of the day, just make sure you turn out and vote. Have your voice heard.
So you see, Veterans in Politics won their first lawsuit in front of the Supreme Court. So that's a good thing. You know, all five points of defamation we won. So just gotta keep on trucking.
Yeah.
And that's why people don't give up. Just keep doing your thing. Anything else?
No, other than that, it's been a good week. I'm very excited to. This guest is going to tell us a lot of stuff, and I really appreciate, like, just so that viewers and listeners understand, like, I really truly appreciate all these guests that come on that are dealing with family court issues, because I have never been in family court myself, but
not after all these guests, you probably never want to go there anymore.
Right. But the thing is that, like, it takes a lot of courage to be able to come in and be interviewed about something that, like, is so personal. Like, if you get a traffic ticket and you go to JP court or whatever, that stuff, stuff like that, like, that's pretty cut and dry. Like, you sped, you broke the law, pay the fine, whatever. But family court is a completely different issue. Like, you're dealing with people's lives and children, and, like, there's such an emotional attachment and everything. So to be able to have the courage to come on and speak up and it's almost like you're reliving all that stuff you're going through all over again. So I just really want to thank all the guests and everybody that comes on and is willing to do that, because it is not an easy thing to do.
You know, if they want to end the corruption in family court, they need to have jury trials. If they don't have it for custody, they should at least have it for termination of parental rights and relocation of children, because I don't see how one person could make a decision and be judge, jury, and executioner. I mean, our founding fathers didn't write the Constitution to say one judge should be able to have all that power. I mean, if this judge is biased against you or don't like you or what have you, you know, you could really throw a monkey wrench into this thing and just terminate all your rights, and then you have to appeal and spend thousands of dollars in time and money, and years will go by if it's even overturned. But there should be jury trials in family court. There should be term limits for judges. Since judges have all these layers of protection to get rid of them. I mean, there is no recall of a judge in the state of Nevada. I mean, the Supreme Court already ruled that. Judges have immunity, judicial immunity, so you can't sue them unless you sue them in federal court.
Right.
And judge also has a statute of limitations. So if you don't file something in time or complain, no matter how bad it is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. I mean, because the statute of limitation protects them as well. So if they put these things in place, there'll be less corruption. I think, on the bench.
I believe so too, because here's the thing. Here's the reason why I think that juries are very important in this case, because like whether any of us want to admit to it or not, like we've all heard the classic story of doesn't matter what color you are, right? Like, well, I can't be racist because, and I'll just say the classic one.
Stop and search in New York.
Yeah. So if somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, you're racist," and I've heard this response several times, well, I can't be racist because I have black friends.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Well, first off, racism and bias, being biased can be split apart, but everybody has a bias of some kind. So when you put total control in the hands of anybody, it doesn't matter. It could be the nicest person on the planet. There's very good family court judges. There are some very bad family court judges, and we pointed them out. But if you have a jury, then you have a broader scope, so it's more balanced than putting it in the hands of one particular person. And it's not calling those judges out, in my opinion. I think it's being more fair to that judge, because that's an awful lot of burden on that particular judge too. So I think it's fair, and in my opinion, it's actually the constitutional way to do it.
People ask me, how come you spend so much time at family court and not at civil criminal court? The reason for that is because civil criminal court, you have all these different layers of protection.
Right.
I mean, if you can't afford an attorney and you're looking at jail time,
right,
one would be appointed to you.
Oh.
But in family court, if you're looking at jail time for contempt of court, no attorneys are appointed to you if you can't afford them. So I asked a couple judges, I'm like, why is that? And they said, well, there's a difference between civil contempt and criminal contempt.
Right.
And I'm like, well, a jail cell doesn't know the difference.
Right. Yeah.
They only know your ass is locked up.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at contempt of court and you're looking at jail time in family court and you cannot afford an attorney, I think one should be appointed for you. It only makes sense, and it's in the Constitution. So I just don't understand why these judges don't follow the United States Constitution. They took an oath to protect and defend, and yet they don't do that.
And I think that's the biggest issue, and you pointed and you brought it up, which is a fair statement. Like, we've had guests and former co-hosts that are attorneys and have flat out said they won't be a part of any family court issues. Like, they won't touch them because as attorneys, they need to understand what the rules are when they walk into that courtroom. They understand when they go into, if they go into district court, if they go into JP court, if they go into these different courtrooms, they understand, like, they know that's why they pass the bar. They understand the rules. But in family court, it's like we don't understand the rules because they're not followed.
Well, family court is theater.
Right.
And I think you need a Screen Actors Guild card to be a family court attorney, because they don't follow rule of evidence, and judges use their own discretion. So it's theater. I mean, whoever have the best story wins the case.
Right. Yeah.
And it's pathetic. So I just think that if they want to stop all this corruption, they just need to start abiding by the laws. And these the only one thing they have in place to stop judges from being crazy is the judicial discipline, and that alone is biased because they're friends of judges, so they're not going to do anything to them.
Yeah.
But I tell litigants, besides that, even if they feel that the judicial discipline is not going to do anything about it, to file a complaint anyway and have a paper trail, because it's good to have a paper trail. That way, they can't say, well, you never told us.
Right.
No one complained, So I tell them, go ahead and complain and have a paper trail. That way, if you have to file a federal lawsuit, at least you'll have that in your hands,
Yeah.
So, have anything else?
No.
Oh, that was a good discussion.
Yeah.
I like that, yeah. So, folks, we have Giano. Giano, could you tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah.
How do you pronounce your last name, by the way?
Amado, Amado.
Amado.
Yeah.
Sounds like a cologne.
A lot of people say that. But well, I guess first of all, thanks for having me.
Give us a bio as well.
So
a bio of you as well.
Okay, so I've lived here. I'm 39 years old. I lived here in Henderson and Las Vegas for the last 39 years. I sell vehicles.
Of course.
And I also I create applications. So one of the newest applications that I'm creating is something that you guys were just touching base on, is transparency.
Oh, are you talking about application on the phone?
So an app, yeah. An app. So basically, I guess what I'm doing is something, we're making sure, okay, I want to make sure that everything is based around transparency, especially in the family courts here in Las Vegas. I see a lot of times, myself, I've been involved in family court for the last 8 years, literally. And, I just see a lot of biasness going on in the family courts. And, the problem being is, they're hiding behind these walls, especially Judge Mathew Harter. So he hides behind these walls.
He's my friend.
Oh, yeah.
Well, just pause 1 second. So, if you don't want to give a bio, that's okay. But so if you want to get right down to it, can you tell the viewers and listeners, specifically, facts about the case and why you have an issue with Judge Harter? Because, I'm all about transparency too. So, we need to get into, facts.
Okay. No,
Of so the viewers and listeners understand why you have an issue.
Yeah, no, definitely. Okay, I guess I ain't too good at giving a bio. But anyway.
You're all right now.
So anyways, I started my case back in 2012.
Okay.
What happened is I went a few years not seeing my daughter. So I filed a case. The girl was constantly playing
Why is
games.
that? Well, why did you go a few years without seeing your daughter? After 6 months, it's abandonment, right?
Yeah, well, it's not that I didn't try, but it never, she would never let me see her. She would always say, okay, I'm going to bring her next week. I'm going to bring her tomorrow.
And you let this go along. You let this go on for how long?
So I let it go on. I want to say a couple of years, literally. That it sucks, and it was kind of my fault, and it was kind of I think the reason I was doing it was kind of a game too. So I was what I was saying is, hey, listen, you're not going to be able to use my child against me.
Did you marry this person?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
But so I guess I was kind of playing a game, and basically I was saying, hey, listen, I'm going to make sure, just like, America, we make sure that, if you have a hostage of ours, we're not going to buy into it. You're not going to, you're not going to, hold this hostage and say, okay, I want this much money, and, us being United States are going to pay you a certain ransom. So that's what was going on here, and I was trying to make sure that it kind of backfired on her. But after so long, I realized that that tactic wasn't going to work.
Okay.
So I guess after so long, I finally, I went and I started filing with the family courts.
So you're the plaintiff?
I'm the plaintiff.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I want to say in 2013, after so long, I had we had to set up a reunification and things like that. And in 2013, I was finally able to gain joint custody. Okay. Now during joint custody, now you got to think we went from 2013 until about the end of 2014. Now during that time, I was never able to get my daughter when I wanted. So it was kind of always a game. She would withhold her, I'd file another motion. She would withhold her again, I'd file another motion. She would finally, the Attorney General's office got involved for parental kidnapping finally, after I want to say about a year and a half of playing these games, 2 years, it finally came to an end, and my daughter's mother finally abandoned her. Okay.
So now your daughter's mother did the same thing you did initially.
Basically, yeah. Well, I guess there was a difference. So I was trying to prove a point. Not saying that it was right by no means, but at the same time, I guess when I did it, I would still, would try to give her money, but instead, she wouldn't accept or she would play games. And
So she was turning down your child support
she
payment?
was turning down my child support.
Was there a court order for child support payment?
You know what? There actually wasn't a court order. Though I actually signed, I want to say in 2009, 2010, I signed a court order. I actually signed a motion, and to where I want to say it was going to be like $400 or $500 a month. But she took back the motion, and whatever happened, we never ended up going to court, and I never ended up having to pay every single month. And it was just kind of a game back and forth. Now, the difference is, when I did it, I'm trying to prove something. When she did it, she left her for being on drugs, and she was getting arrested, and
Your ex?
my ex, which is my daughter's mother. So I mean, there was a difference there. Not saying that either one was good, but at the same time, there was definitely a difference.
So how long did mom abandon your daughter for?
So I want to say at the end of 2014 until the beginning of 2018, so about, what would that be, about 3 years, 3.5 years?
Did you try to terminate her rights and get sole physical and legal custody?
So you know what? The judge actually asked me one time, hey, are you going to file for termination? And I told him, I said, Your Honor, I said, I'm in the process. I actually had...
What judge?
Judge Mathew Harter.
Okay.
So I actually had, all the paperwork written up and.
So he gave you an opportunity to actually win this thing early on.
Yeah.
And you didn't take advantage of it.
I didn't take advantage. Now, what I did is...
That's two now.
Yeah, I know, definitely. Now, I guess what happened is I didn't turn in the paperwork, okay? So I did, I guess being the person I am, I gave her a chance,
Right.
So instead of just terminating her rights, I know I could have did it easily. I had all the paperwork drawn up. I could have easily dropped it off at the court.
Why would you give somebody like that a chance if you and her was going at it for 2 years and you didn't get to see your daughter, and now you have an opportunity to get your daughter for yourself? I mean, with sole legal custody of her, and you just did not take that opportunity. How much chances were you willing to give one person?
I know, definitely. So you know what it was I guess I was taking in consideration, right? So I don't look at it.
And let me ask you something. Why didn't you just terminate her rights and get her, and then at that point you can make whatever chance with her you want?
Yeah.
Because now you have all the documentation in place.
Mm-hmm.
And now it'll be totally up to you if you want to give her a chance after you have sole physical and legal custody of your daughter.
Yeah, definitely. I guess I more looked at it as, a power trip, right? So I'm not looking at it, when a judge is presenting me this opportunity, oh, hey, have you filed for termination? That's basically saying, hey, have you filed for termination? Because I'll sign it over, right? So I don't play them kind of games. And, I guess I didn't want to, I was looking out for my daughter's best interest.
Let me stop you right there. How is that a game when it was a question? Have you filed for termination? I mean, that'd be something logically anybody would ask if mom is not in the child's life for 4 years.
Yeah, well, I guess, okay, so I guess maybe my verbiage ain't right. So maybe it's not a game. It was like more of like, I guess, a power trip, and I seen, what kind of person he is, and, he's more on like a power trip. Hey, have you filed for termination? Because, basically I'll sign it. He can say I'll sign it, but basically when he bring it up, and I guess
You talking about the judge had a power trip?
Yeah,
Well, he is the judge.
No, I mean, definitely. I mean, a biased judge, but I mean, he's definitely a judge.
Well,
But how's he biased though? Because he
Oh, we're
like
getting into that.
gave you the opportunity. I guess what we're trying to say is like it just seems to me like you had a lot of opportunities in the beginning that you
kinda
didn't
blew
take
it.
advantage of.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. And I guess, everybody makes mistakes, right?
Right.
So it's just like if you were to leave here right now and you were to pass the stop sign, you might get a ticket for it, right?
Yeah.
So everybody makes a mistake, and because I didn't capitalize on it,
But
it's my fault.
that's a bad analogy, Gianno, with the stop sign and your daughter, because you had an opportunity to have the sole physical and legal custody. The judge was taunting you.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Where's the paperwork, basically, and
Yeah.
you didn't file it.
No, I know, definitely.
And then before that, you went 2 years of not seeing your child.
Yeah. No, I know, I understand.
I'm a little confused.
So I guess-
Unconfuse me.
Yeah. So I guess what it is, I didn't follow through with it, and what I was hoping is she's gonna come back one day, and she's gonna be, the mother that my daughter wanted her to be. But, by God, that did not happen, and it definitely 1,000,000% backfired on me. So I didn't take that opportunity, which was given to me, and it definitely backfired on me.
Okay, so where's the case right now?
Okay, so after 2015, I want to say in around April of 2018, I get a phone call. And actually, maybe it was an email or whatever it was, and I hear from our parent coordinator that the mother was coming back, and she was actually, she's off drugs now. She's been going to classes. So what happened is, I then receive a motion that she wrote up, and the motion states that I was alienating her, right? So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, how the hell can I be alienating her when I never even knew she was trying to get a hold of me?
Mm-hmm.
So we end up going to court, and the judge all of a sudden, he's up there and he's doing all this, and he's like, I see this all the time where parents alienate children, and I'm thinking, I'm like, Your Honor, I said, I never knew that they were trying to get a hold of me, Your Honor. Oh well, I said, Your Honor, I could have been under a rock in China. I said, but you're going to use that against me? Oh well, so he's doing his power trip, and I'm thinking, I'm like, okay. So what happens is he ends up giving her 1 day a week, and he tells her, he says, listen, he's like, I'm going to tell you this. He says, you will basically never get back. I want to say it was
We're talking about Judge Harter saying.
Judge Harter, yeah. So we're still, this whole case we're talking about Judge Harter. I'm still in front of Judge Harter. But now what happened is, so he tells her, he says, listen, he says, you're never going to get back, I don't know if it was physical custody, legal custody, whatever it was. He says, unless he were to mess up bad. And I'm thinking, I look at him, I'm thinking in my head, no, don't say that. Why would you have said that? As soon as he said that, she took that as an opportunity, and she knew what she had to do. So now she gets 1 day.
Like you had an opportunity,
no,
and you didn't
definitely.
take advantage of it.
Yeah, no, definitely. So basically, she looks at it as she has to start creating a platform. So she has to start creating a record of negatives, okay? I don't have no negatives, okay? My daughter's an A and B honor roll student. She's happy. She's, we take her, anywhere she wants, she's able, she's always, constantly having fun.
How old is she at this point?
So at this point, I want to say she was 9 years old.
Okay.
Now, the problem is, as soon as, I guess Judge Harter told her this, it's like, shoot, so Jennifer ended up getting her for about 1 day a week.
That's your ex-wife, mother's.
I'm sorry, yeah, so, yeah.
Your child's mother's name is Jennifer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, my daughter's mother started getting her for 1 day a week. Now, during this time, what happens is, she's constantly, from probably the day that she got her, she's taking her to doctors, she's taking her to therapists, she's taking her, calling our parent coordinator, calling CPS, calling the police.
And she's setting you up at this point.
She's setting me up, but she's creating a record of this, right? Now,
Smart girl.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, Definitely. Well, I guess it
I
depends
guess
on
coming
how
off
you
the
look at
drugs
it.
is working.
Oh yeah, definitely. But then again, you got to remember, it depends on how you look at it, right? Smart or stupid, right? Because smart, it wouldn't be, you just create the most outlandish accusations known to humankind, and think that you're going to get away with it, right? Because you got to remember, we got certain things, even though
Did you take her deposition? Did she
I
raise her
recently
right
took a
hand
deposition.
and
Yeah.
swear on the oath?
Oh yeah.
So any lies she tell, that would be perjury
Oh
or
my
contempt of
God,
court.
yeah,
So what type of lies does she say that you did?
Okay, so first of all, I want to
Or alleged lies?
Okay, so in I want to say August 19th, I finally know I was fed up. Once I found out what she was doing, I said enough, no more of this. I told my daughter, I said, listen, you let your mother know, you let your grandmother know, we're moving out of state. So this was August 18th, 2019.
Now, why would you do that?
It was kind of, I was fed up. You got to remember, I've been in this for 8 years now, right?
So this is recent.
So this is recent. And, I didn't want my daughter to grow up.
How old's
like
your
that.
daughter now?
She's 11. So, I was just thinking, okay, listen, if this didn't work, it kind of backfired on me. I didn't file for termination.
Why did you have? Why were you allowing your 11-year-old to pass this message? Why don't you pass it yourself?
We don't speak. And I guess the reason
You're not with Talking Parents or any of those
You know what? So we used to be with
communication apps?
Yeah, but we used to be with our family wizard. Now the problem with our family wizard, so the game, okay, the game that I was going to explain to you was, she learned a tactic.
That's some
okay?
good water, right?
Oh yeah, hell yeah, man, definitely. So she learned a tactic, and the tactic is you throw 100 things at the wall. Now with this 100 things at the wall that she's throwing, you got to remember, I got to defend against every single one of them, right?
Right.
All she needs is one thing to stick. That's it. So what
Did you
happened?
have an attorney at this point?
I had multiple attorneys at this
Who
point.
are the attorneys you had throughout your case?
So I've had Sue Fletta, I had Oliver Melgard, I've had Patricia Moore. I mean, those are, I guess, basically the main ones that I could remember.
What about Mom?
You know what? She didn't have one. She has had them. So okay. So one of her attorneys that she actually learned this tactic from was Alex Gubata. I want to say
Gubata.
Gubata. Yeah.
Well,
So
Psycho, in my opinion.
yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely shady. Definitely shady. So now she learned this tactic from Alex. Okay.
What kind of tactic did she learn?
So the tactic that she learned is you come up with as much, as much bullshit as you could possibly come up with against this son of a bitch, and you throw everything at the wall, and you just make sure that one thing sticks. And what happens there
It's
is
theater. That's what I said earlier.
yeah. No, it's theater, definitely. What happens is when you do this, right? Not only is it confusing me, right? It's confusing everybody that has to, investigate all these. You see what I mean? So everything, you get done investigating this, then you gotta look over here, then you gotta
Right.
look over here. So basically that's the
So
tactic
that
they play.
runs up your legal bills.
Oh yeah, definitely runs the hell up out of my legal bills, definitely.
Why did you get her for contempt?
Oh, multiple times I filed for contempt and
And what
never one time no.
Okay, did you file, you said that Alex Gabato is the one that taught her how to do these illegal maneuvers to make you look like you're a bad dad.
Yeah.
Did you file did you file a state bar complaint against him?
You know what, I didn't, and I want to say.
And do you have proof he's done that, by the way?
Well, that's what I was going to tell you, right? So you got to remember, there's a lot of tactics that people could come up with, especially her, okay? So especially my kid's mother. So how do we prove that, right? Now, best believe if I could have came up and I did have evidence, I would have definitely filed against him.
Mm-hmm.
But, I think this is one of them tactics that, you could kind of, tell your client, okay, listen, this is what you do. And, once she learns this tactic, she fucking uses it on you until your daughter's 18, and man, believe me, it's been expensive. It's been a life
Did you file a state
lesson.
bar complaint against the attorney?
No, I didn't.
Well, why not?
I didn't know I could at the time.
Well, you know now.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, definitely. And believe me, now that anything that anybody does now, believe me, I am filing.
You can still
left and
file.
right.
How long ago has this been going on?
I want to say she began with him in 2013, 2014.
And when did it end, or if it ever did?
It hasn't ended.
Well, you can still file a state bar
Yeah,
complaint.
oh no, definitely. Now, if I get evidence, I guess it depends on, once I have time to even think about the evidence that I could even create surrounding that, and if he did it and, stuff like that, then definitely, right? So I don't like filing frivolous documentation, frivolous motions.
Right.
But, if I have evidence, I will definitely be filing against him.
So, where's the case now?
So the case now, so basically what happened is Judge Harter, in, let's say 2019, August 19, 2019, we went all the way up until September 19th, 2019, he basically takes away all my rights, okay?
Under what grounds?
So under the grounds, he says, so basically.
Who has rights now?
The mother does.
And, okay, because...
You have no rights?
I have nothing. He won't even give me supervised visitation.
Okay, so when did this happen? And I mean, as briefly as possible. Like how did it get to now all of a sudden? And I wanted to let you speak because I want the listeners and viewers to understand all the background and everything that went on. But went from the mother getting like 1 day a week to now all of a sudden she has full custody now?
She has full custody. So what happened is she created I want to say, since I told her I was moving on August.
Okay, so let's stop for a second with her. What grounds, what did the judge tell you, like when in the ruling, like how did he tell you that you were going to turn over rights to her?
Okay, so on September 5th,
Okay.
the judge says, you know what? He says, your daughter actually, he says, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to send your daughter to your parent coordinator, and we're going to have her speak to your parent coordinator. And I'm like, Your Honor, I said, what do you mean you're going to do this? I said, Your Honor, am I allowed to be there? Not being in the room, but am I allowed to be there? Her parent, her physical custodian.
Right.
And he says, absolutely not. And I'm thinking, wow, like how shady can you be? Basically, so he sent her, that'd be keen to send an Elizabeth Smart with her abductors.
Okay. So he sent her to a parental coordinator and then
Interrogated.
Okay. And then based off what she said, that's how he decided to give the mother.
Well, yeah, but you have to kind of understand the full full thing. So basically, she has a 7-year pattern of well-documented coaching, alienating, gatekeeping. Okay, so now he sends her, and after she wrote this report on me, and basically she wrote a police report, she wrote her CPS report. Both reports were unsubstantiated. The police never even contacted me. Okay. Now she sends her basically to be questioned by our parent coordinator, and I'm thinking, I'm like, Your Honor, please don't do that. She's gonna say whatever she wants. But this was kind of like a revenge, like a hatred towards me for some reason. That he was gonna show me and he was gonna teach me a lesson, and he knew exactly what she was gonna do.
Your daughter?
So Judge Harter was going to teach me a lesson, sending my daughter to be interrogated without me being there with her abductors. Okay, you got to remember, I had full custody at that time.
Right.
My daughter's mother withheld her, and she says, oh, CPS gave me custody. And I'm thinking, I'm still asking for that document today, how CPS gave you custody. She never has presented it until this day. CPS does not give custody.
No.
So anyways.
Not that I'm aware of anyway.
So now, September 5th, she goes and has her interrogated, for, within the next 2 weeks, okay? I come back on September 19th. Now I'm reading all these things that my daughter's saying, and I'm like, oh my God, how can she be saying this, Now remember, she was sent with her coacher, she was sent with her abductor to, present all these things.
Who was she sent with? Who took her to?
My daughter's mother, her coacher, her 7-year coacher, her 7-year.
Okay. I understand now. Okay.
So anyway, she goes there and she states all these things. Just outlandish. That
Yeah.
Just so many different things. So anyway, September 19th comes. And this is September 19th, 2018, so maybe I got the year wrong. So now September 19th comes. Now I go into court, I'm reading all these things. And I'm thinking, wow, how the hell he just now set me up for this, right? So I walk into court and I tell him, I said, Your Honor, I said, I got a bag full of evidence right now. I could even show you one document, proves that all of this is fake. And he's like, what is that? He was like, I don't even know what, I said, I got evidence right now. I don't even know what that is, he tells me, right? So now I have everything on the table.
Why didn't you file all this evidence with the court as a response?
Well, I guess during that time, it hasn't, now during that time, this is when it first started getting bad. Now I did show a lot of the evidence that I had to our parent coordinator, but maybe I didn't.
Who was the parent coordinator?
Nicholas Ponzo. But I guess you got to remember, the game that she played is she threw so many different things to where I have to prepare all this stuff. Yeah. So I only have, so much of a window to go and present my evidence. Oh. So anyways, now September 19th comes, I have everything, I have everything laid out on the table, all my exhibits, and he tells me, he was like, I can guarantee you we're not going to go through all that right now. He was like, you know what we're going to go ahead and do?
Who says?
This is Judge Harter. He says, we're going to go ahead and set a trial for 4 months away. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking, 4 months? How in the hell, you piece of shit? How in the hell can you tell me 4 months? It just now took me almost 4 years without the interference of her mother to get my daughter where she is now. You're going to tell me you're going to keep her with the abductor with zero evidence, okay? An unsubstantiated CPS report. Police never contacted me, and you're going to send her with her abductors for 4 more months? You might as well have told me, hey, you know what? Better yet, we're going to have a trial in 10 years. Hell with that. I don't play them type of games, So I guess working off of emotions, I said, you know what? I said, now remember, during this time, he would not let me speak. I didn't have an attorney at that time. So I walked in, I'm thinking I could present my case better than an attorney. What I didn't take in consideration is I had a sealed case. So with the sealed case, he gets to hide all these things that he's doing. But
who gets that?
Judge Harter. So now with him.
And what do you think he's hiding?
So what he's hiding is he's hiding his prejudice, his biasness. He's hiding his partialness. He's definitely not impartial. So he's kind of making illegal maneuvers and he's kind of saying, hey, I'm king, I'll do whatever I want. He's not taking in consideration the best interest of my daughter.
Why you say he's prejudiced and biased? What gave you the inkling to say that?
Okay, so now what happens is on September 19th, he ends up giving her full legal sole custody.
Under what grounds?
Under the grounds, I guess, well, what happened is, okay.
So he basically terminated your parental rights.
Basically, but he didn't, I guess that wouldn't be considered termination. What he tells her is, I say, okay. I said, you know what? I said, I got a better idea. You won't listen to me? I said, Your Honor, I swear to God, this is all fake. You want to know what I learned from the best FBI interrogators and all this? He says that if somebody starts off a sentence with, I swear to God, that it's a lie. And I'm like, oh shit, there is no winning in front of him, okay? So,
but your daughter's mother did, right?
Now she's winning, okay?
Right.
She's winning for whatever reason. We didn't talk about that, but now she's winning, okay? Now you got to remember, she is the woman that just abandoned our daughter, that was on drugs, that
And she has no lawyer.
During that time, I don't think she had a lawyer. I don't believe so. No, she didn't.
Why do you think she's whipping your butt in court?
Because of the what's the word I'm looking for? The revenge that Harter was trying to get on me. How dare I speak up? How dare that I speak to him in a way when my daughter is getting abducted? So he's trying to show me, you want to do this in my courtroom? I'm going to teach you a lesson. That's why.
Okay, so basically, based off what I've heard, and I meant exactly what I said earlier in the beginning, and that's why I wanted to just pause for a second, because it's very hard to go through all the stuff you're going through, and the fact that you can come in and talk about this stuff. So basically, what I'm getting at all this is it's a very unfortunate situation. But so like now going forward, like where she still has.
So she still
has legal custody. And do you think that, see, because basically what the gist of what I'm getting, that I feel anyway, is that Judge Harter gave you an opportunity in the beginning, right? Mm-hmm. And so you didn't, and like that's the other thing too about the court system that a lot of people don't understand. Like, even people that understand the law, like that's why lawyers have lawyers. Because when you get into a courtroom,
your emotions,
your emotions, like what you were talking about, like filing paperwork on time. There's so many things that go into it that like you're just gonna miss. So basically, like my perception of what's kind of happening here with the judge is that he feels as though he gave you a really solid opportunity in the beginning and you didn't take advantage of it. And now she's kind of gotten smart and learned how the system works. And then so maybe he's a little bit biased now. Like he's basically saying like, hey, I gave this, excuse my language, I gave this effing guy a chance and now we're back in doing this. This could have been over if he would have just done the right thing in the beginning.
Yeah. So it's good that you say that, and it's not that this is how the system works. It's she figured out how Judge Harter works, right?
Right.
You go and you file a false report, and you put in so many accusations in one report, and
he doesn't ask her to prove these accusations.
No, nothing.
So you're saying he's not following the rule of evidence?
He's not following the rule of evidence.
Did you file a judicial? Did you file a judicial discipline complaint against him?
You know what? So actually, I'm not allowed to actually. I don't believe state if I did that or not. But I can tell you this. I guarantee I filed everything you could possibly humanly file within this process. That's what I could tell you. Now the thing about it is she learned how Judge Harter works. Okay, you go and you file a false report, and the judge will use it against you. He tells me you're on, or he says, you know what I want to know? I want to know about the police report, and this is, I want to say September 5th. And I'm like, Your Honor, what police report? I don't even know about the police report yet. And I'm like, I'm sitting there thinking about it, and all of a sudden he's like, yeah, that report. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what are you talking about, bro? So anyways, come to find out, this is the report that she made 13 different accusations in a 5-inch paragraph, okay? Now, she knows now this will work, okay? So now, she knows all you do is you file with as many agencies that'll let you write a free self-written report, and we just need one thing to stick, okay? So now let's jump to April 23rd, 2019. What happens is we go to court and Judge Harter, it might be April 23rd or April 25th, one or the other. Anyways, we go to court and Judge Harter, he asked me some questions. And at the time I had Patricia Moore, okay, real good attorney. And she, first of all, he would not even let her speak. He's so pissed off for whatever reason, he's gonna show me, so he wouldn't let me speak, he wouldn't let my attorney barely speak. And what he does is, he was like, you know what I'm gonna do? He says, Jennifer, how much do you make? He asked my daughter's mother, how much do you make a month? She says, $2,000. Who do you live with? My mother. Okay, so now she lives with her mother. He's like, you know what? He says, I'm gonna go ahead and find you. I don't know if he used this word, but he found her indigent, okay? Meaning that she doesn't make enough to give away an attorney, to give her an attorney. So what happens is, or to be able to pay for an attorney, I should say, okay? So what happens is, he gives her an attorney, okay? And I'm thinking...
He doesn't have that power to give her an attorney
but he did.
In family court.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Now, he didn't give me an attorney, he didn't give my daughter an attorney, he gave an attorney to the person, the fabricator, that is trying to terminate my rights.
He has powers to give your daughter attorney, but
Yes.
not any of the litigants.
Yes, exactly. Now remember, he gives her an attorney, okay?
So did you file a complaint against him for that?
Oh, absolutely. I filed, like I said, there's certain things I can't expose, but I filed any complaint you could possibly think of, I filed.
And how long ago have you done this?
I want to say I filed about maybe 8 months ago.
And what was the response?
I still haven't got a response yet.
In 8 months?
In 8 months. It might be 6 months. But
You
yeah.
need to follow up because you
Oh, no,
should
I
get
am.
one within 90 days.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. So actually, I did receive a letter a few days later stating that they're taking my response, or they're taking the motion that I wrote up in consideration, and they'll be getting back to me. So I'm not saying that they're not going to do nothing. It is taking a while. Hopefully they do.
So you did get a letter saying that they
No, I
received
did.
it?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, definitely I did. Now during the same court hearing, okay? Now this was on, let's say, April 23rd, 2019. Not only does he give her an attorney to take away my rights, he also says, you know what, and now remember, she didn't ask for an attorney. He just simply handed it over, right? And then he also says, you know what, your daughter's 10 years old. She's mature enough to choose who she wants to live with.
Oh,
And
there's no law that covers that either.
no, definitely not. Now, remember though, so I guess it's what would you say? It's not in the books, maybe. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But usually it's about 13 or 14. How is he going to tell me how mature my daughter is if he's never met her? You know what I mean? So basically he's saying, okay, your daughter's mature enough to say who she wants to live with. So now they don't ask for none of this. Now he sends her to see who she wants to live with. He sends her to the FMC, and of course they use that again for a free platform.
What's FMC?
FMC is the Family Mediation Center down at the family courts. So now he sends her down there. Now what they do, you got to remember, okay, how my daughter's mother and they coach my daughter to go and use these free platforms to basically present everything and anything they could possibly say, but they have no evidence towards it. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, they go do that, and, she says all this, these crazy allegations, and now, so this was, I want to say April 23rd. Now, Jennifer finds out. Now, on April 23rd, this is when my daughter's mother filed for termination of rights, okay? So she filed, I want to say on May 20th, 2019, April 23rd, 2019 was our court hearing. Now she found out, okay, hey, now I'm going to fight the termination, okay? It was stupid, whatever I did and however I conducted myself on September 19th, 2018, it was childish, and I should have never said, maybe the things I said, but now I'm going to fight it, okay? Now this woman knows she has no evidence. So what does she do, okay? She goes in and she knows, okay, we got a termination trial coming up in August, I want to say August 23rd, 2019, so she has to create something. At this time, she only had a self-written police report where the police never contacted me, a picture of my daughter, a black and white photo, and she had a letter that says of substantiation. Okay, literally this is what she had as exhibits. So anyway, she has nothing, so what she does is she has to create something, right? So now, I want to say 19 days goes by. All of a sudden, she goes in there and she files a police report against my son's mother now, okay? With the most ridiculous, we won't even talk about that, okay? The most ridiculous accusations humanly possible. Mm-hmm. Now, she goes and writes one thing in her police report, okay? And then she goes and says another thing in her oral statement, I want to say 10 days later, to the police, the detective. Also, they take my daughter, okay? Now, they take my daughter and they have her say all this stuff. She says, basically, this statement, her mother says, the opposite. So now, basically, we could tell it's fake. Now, fast forward, I want to say December 20th, 2019. Now she has to answer up to all these lies, okay? I set up a deposition. During that deposition, what happens is Jennifer goes and Instead of showing up at the deposition, I show up there and they say, you know what, we're sorry, but we just want to let you know that this deposition ain't going through today. And I'm like, why not? We just been informed by the opposing counsel that your daughter's mother now is filing more charges and, this and that, and, CPS has been involved. So now, instead of what she did is, she has my daughter go say something September 19th to her therapist, whatever it is, okay? And then she waits until the very next day to not go to her deposition. So anyways, she didn't go, and now all of a sudden, fast forward to February 20th. Now we forced her into a deposition. It was either February 20th, February 21st, I don't know. Anyways, we forced her into her deposition. We make her, I expose all of her lies. Hopefully we will be posting that video so you could kind of see, and everybody could kind of see.
Does Judge Harter, but the thing is, does Judge Harter know about all this?
Oh, he knows. So basically I've been trying to get Judge Harter recused, okay? He refuses to step off my case. It's more about me and Judge Harter than it is about me and my kid's mother now. You know what I mean? And he refuses. Everything that I'm accusing him for, okay? He basically don't even, when in his opposition, he don't even mention anything that he did. You know what I mean? He just, it's just so miscalculated. Everything that he's doing is just, it's prejudice, it's biased, it's unbelievable, and he will not step off my case. He will not, it's ridiculous,
Well, that was a lot of airflow right there.
Definitely, man, but you got
So now what you're saying is that Harter has taken a 180, and he was giving you an opportunity to get sole legal custody.
Yeah.
And now he's actually gave mom sole legal. Did she file paperwork for sole legal custody?
Yeah, she did. Well, she's been filing for sole legal custody for the last 7 years.
And now she has it.
Now she has it. But the thing.
But did you have an evidentiary hearing?
No, I didn't. Now that's what I was going to tell you. The thing to take in consideration is he kind of gave her custody without an evidentiary hearing. He didn't he did. So how does that
work? Did you file
work?
a complaint against him for that?
Oh, absolutely. Anything that he did that I could think of, I filed a complaint. Can't say with who, but I have definitely filed complaints.
Okay. And you were saying you were trying to get him recused. How were you trying to do that?
So I guess the first step, of trying to get him recused is, of course, I've took it up to the Supreme Court. We're trying to get him recused by the Supreme Court. I'm also trying to get him recused by the District Court. So I kind of had a pause on trying to get him recused from the Supreme Court until we hear it. So I got denied here, okay? I got denied the recusal, I want to say last month, the month before that, here in the District Court. So what I did is I refiled a reconsideration for the motion that I filed for the recusal, and I'm waiting for that to be heard on March 9th. I don't got no hopes for it. We'll see what happens. But I think that's another issue we have here in Las Vegas, is that they refuse, no matter what a judge does, to kick them off of your case, to recuse them from your case. So I think that's going to be one of the things that, I'm going to fight for, and, I'm going to make sure I create a platform of transparency. No more hiding evidence, no more hiding these, biased things that, these officials are doing and they think they're getting away with, no more of that, I want to make sure I create a platform of transparency.
What do you think, Jim?
Well, I think, first off, any family court case is very unfortunate, and I just more than anything, like I keep saying it over and over again, I just really want to thank you for coming in. It's not an easy thing to discuss, and like Steve has talked about it before. It's kind of a, honestly, everybody, it's kind of a hard thing for me to discuss personally. I'm more upset with the whole thing just because I've always really been big on, like, as far as the law is concerned, like legally. One of the reasons why I am a part of the party I am is because as far as like Supreme Court justices and things of that nature, I just really have always been, somebody asked me one time, are you a Republican or a Democrat? And I said, well, I'm a registered Republican, but that's just because I lean that way a little bit more than I do the other way. But honestly, I've always considered myself a pro-constitutionalist and an anti-globalist. And the reason why I say that is because we have a constitution in this country. It's a legal document. It says what it says, and it doesn't say what it doesn't say. And it's just very, as far as the family court system goes, it's a touchy situation for me because it's kind of hard for me to opine on some of it just because I've never been married and I don't have kids. But one of the unfortunate things that really bugs me is like when I don't feel like the legal process is being involved.
Some people have enough kids for
but I mean, like, when you enter family court, unfortunately, there's a situation that occurs for you to have to get into that system to begin with. And for that system to take advantage of emotion and not follow the rule of law is just very unfortunate. And it's something that really, truly needs to change. And I really appreciate you for like enlightening me to this and for our guests for coming on. One of the things though that I would like to say to you is that thank you for coming on. And then for the viewers and listeners, like, it's really tough, but when you enter a courtroom in any fashion, like, you need to understand that there is a process involved. So you need to try to like seek counsel, whether it's paid or somebody that you can talk to, because unfortunately in your case, you were given an opportunity in the beginning, right? And I don't want you to have to relive that, and it's through no fault of your own, but if you would have taken some advantages on that one first, things probably would be a little bit different right now. But at the same time, listening to everything you said today, one of the things that frustrates me is because I personally feel as though Judge Harter is actually kind of retaliating against you now because he gave this gentleman an opportunity and he didn't take it, and now it's kind of a gotcha moment. And I don't like that, and I don't like the fact that judges in general, in a lot of cases, try to play God. Yeah. And when children are involved, that's a sad thing.
Because it could destroy lives.
Yeah.
Gianno, do you have anything you want to tell the listeners?
Definitely. You know what everybody has to take in consideration.
And your point of contact if you want to.
Okay. Now, the thing about it is, okay, what people have to take in consideration when, you know, the judge is playing, you know, God and you know, he's playing the jury and he's playing everything all at once, right? What happens is never one time do they take in consideration of, you know, what's going to happen with the child, right? So what's going to happen with the child is when you're doing this, you know, he gets to sit at home and, you know, let's say when he's retired, now the children have to deal with this, okay? The children have to kind of deal with the situation, you know, when they get older and, you know, they don't have one parent because, you know, the judge kind of, you know, played God and, you know, gave one thing to one parent and excluded the other parent and, you know, out of revengefulness. So, you know, what worries me is, you know, when my children get older, my daughter gets older, what's going to happen? You know, it terrifies me to think my daughter's going to be, you know, on the street somewhere, hungry, cold, you know, because of this judge, because of what he has done. You know, so at least what judges have to take in consideration is not if you're mad at somebody and you want to be revengeful and, you know, you want to teach them a lesson, take in consideration the best interest of the child. Okay? What's going to happen later on in life with that child? You know, don't worry. What about your children? What if somebody puts your children in a situation like that? You know, that's what matters. So that's what scares me. You know, with the way that this justice system is working, with, you know, especially with Judge Harter, and of course with the CPS agency here in Las Vegas. You know, so hopefully when we come back, we can touch base on the CPS here in Las Vegas, and you know, I have a whole lot to say about that also.
All right, folks. Thank you for appearing on the program.
Oh yeah, you're welcome.
Folks, that's Giano Amado was discussing the corruption in family court and the complete bias of Clark County Family Court Judge Mathew Harter. This is Steve Sampson, Jim Jonas. Until next week.